Let's talk. When we talk to each other in the SCA, there is a pitfall that we can fall into a little too easily. And what do I mean by that? Let me give you the example that I went through, and then we'll break it down. I entered the SCA as a fighter. Fighting was what brought me in. The fighting community was my first community, my first family within the SCA. That, I understand what it is to join the SCA for the fighting. God, I think I'd been in 12 years at this point, and we were having regular Thursday night practices. Got my armor together, got my weapons, hopped in the car, drove over, and just like any other practice, I showed up, got my kit on. I think I did one or two pickup fights, and then all of a sudden, this one guy stopped all the fighting, called everyone over, and said, "Okay, we're going to do spear camp," which is the set of footwork drills with spear. And I was like, "What? That's not why I showed up, guys. No, come on." So I acquiesced, and I went in and I did these drills for one evolution, however long it took, a couple of minutes. And it was a calisthenics level, lots of running around, lots of footwork. It was an aerobics class in armor with a weapon in your hand. Now, let me be clear. For a lot of other people, that's a perfectly acceptable class, and it's a perfectly good training for what they wanted to learn. For me, and my physical fitness level, and why I was out there, number one, that was diving in a deep end that I could not swim in. I couldn't have done another rotation if I wanted to. But also, I armored up. I was a weeknight only fighter at that point. I just came out to armor up, support the other fighters, swing a stick, and blow off steam. That was it. That was why I fought. After that first rotation, I popped my helmet and I said, "Okay, cool, I'm done." And I went over to sit down. And a few minutes later, I remember the guy that started all this walked over and he goes, "Hey, you gonna get back in?" I said, "No, when you're done, let me know. I'll put my helmet on and I'll go back to fighting just general fights. But I'm not doing that. That's not why I showed up." And he said, no, you need to keep doing this. Come on, it'll improve your footwork. I said, "I'm sure it'll improve my footwork. It's also going to completely burn me out. I did not come out here for that type of a workout." And I'll never forget this. He kept pushing at me. And he kept leaning at me. And I think there was a solid 3 or 4 minutes of him harping at me about, "Come on, you need this. You need to do this. Come on, this will improve your game." I was just like, "No." I finally looked at him at one point. I said, "Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, no, go away." And it got so bad, I finally just threw my hands up in the air and I said, "You know what? I'm done." And I grabbed my helmet, I grabbed my glaive, I went out to the car. Threw my stuff in the back, got in the car, in kit, put it in drive, and left. I was steamed enough about it that I took the next 2 weeks. I think I took the next, it was 2 weeks off. And I showed up again third week, 3 weeks later. And exact same thing. One round of fights in, and then they said, "Hey, let's do a thing of spear camp." And I said, "Okay, cool, but I'm going to go sit this one out." And the same guy walked up to me and he goes, "Come on, man, you need to go do this." And I was like, "No. Did last time not register with you? I am not doing this. I am exhausted as is. I am here to swing a stick and get tired that way. I am not doing these, mad dash back and forth foot drills. Forget it." And I remember like 2 other people came over. At one point I had 3 people harping at me. I felt like I was in middle school again. It was peer pressure is what it was. I felt like I had a bunch of the cool kids who were trying to lean on me to go be in the middle of a dodgeball game. And I sat there and I literally was rolling my eyes and I said, guys, no. Oh my God, what is wrong with you people? I'm not going out there. Enough. End of story. We're done. And I wound up leaving again. I just had it. I had a job at that point which was stressing me out. I was not in the best place physically. And I was, from a mental health standpoint, I just needed to go hang out with people. I needed to go be part of the crew. But I did not want to go do this boot camp style training. And there's a couple of reasons why I did not want to go do the training. I just want to cover this because I know there's going to be some people that say this as they're watching this video. Number one, I had no aspirations at the time, or anywhere near that time, about making Grant level heavy weapons fighter or being a knight. It wasn't on my path. It wasn't something I was interested in. I didn't want that. It wasn't something I wanted to do. I was a guy who showed up to socialize, to swing the stick, to have fun, get a lot of bruises, and then go home and tell my wife about how awesome practice was. But no, one guy, well, two or three guys, but one in particular, had to turn this into a technical practice and had to treat everyone who walked on the damn field like they were the next potential Onstie Iron white belt. And wouldn't take no for an answer in the process. And the other major problem here, the other huge major problem here, it's actually two parts. One, like I said, I was not in the best physical shape. That was not me at my peak. The drills he was doing, that's fine if you're 22 or 23 and you're in halfway decent shape. I was not, and I was not. One evolution of those had me huffing. Doing two or three or the 40 minutes they did that first night alone, I would have wound up on the ground breathing hard. That is not why I show up to practices. That is, that's not going to improve anything. That's going to burn me out. If that's all that's waiting for me at a practice, yeah, I'll just hang up my armor right now. But the other part of it is that how people learn is different. And this rote reaction of, okay, this is a cool drill, everyone needs to do this drill. I don't learn by that type of rote reaction, rote repetition. The constant running back and forth through 20, 30, or 40 evolutions, the constant and the constant competitiveness against other people a fraction of my size, 2/3 my age, and well in excess of my skill level. That's not learning. That's an exercise in frustration. And again, that's a really good way to make me just stop coming. And that's exactly what happened that night. That's exactly what happened both of those nights. This is a great drill. Everyone now has to do it. Yep. Why is this important to you? This is important to you because that guy who said, hey, everyone drop what they're doing and let's do this, that could all too easily be you. Anytime you engage with someone who is doing something in the SCA, you must make sure to both understand and respect their reasons for doing it. If you don't, you're effectively insulting them, possibly injuring them, possibly physically, possibly emotionally. That night, they did not understand why I was there. It could be argued they refused to understand, but they did not understand why I was there. And more importantly, because they didn't understand, they did not respect my reasons for being there. And in the process, they ruined the night for me twice. Um, if you engage someone about what they're doing in the SCA and you do the same thing, you may ruin their corner of the SCA for them. It's not fighting. Fighter practices and fighting are a really easy kind of scapegoat conversation to have because it is so competitive and it is also so personal that there is a lot of opportunity for this to take place. But it is by no means at all unique to the fighting community. If you are talking with someone about how or why they are doing arts and sciences or the performing arts or service or anything, you absolutely must make sure you understand why they are doing it, what brings them here, and you must respect their reason. Now that doesn't mean that you can't try and change it. You know, I'm generally speaking, I'm always good about having a have you considered or maybe you should think about type conversation. That's fine. That's also respectful of where we're starting this conversation. But you can't let yourself get sucked into this myopic view of there is only one reason to do something. Because I'm here to tell you that attitude, that attitude, and in the fighting community, that attitude and the hyper competitiveness that came with it, were part of the reason I never put armor on. And to be clear about this, I did go back and fighter practice. I did go back and fight for a couple more years. I wound up taking a year off because of a massive medical issue. I had surgery with 1 year of light duty following that. And I was actually in the process of putting my armor back together to get back out and try and fight again because I really wanted to be part of that community. And I was in the shop talking with people, hanging out again, a social hour. And the same guy was spouting off about the same stuff. And I realized if I go back to fighter practices, I'm going to have the same thing. I want to have the same conversations. It's going to be we are all here to become knights, so we should all do this. And I remember one night where I just heard enough of that conversation and I said, all right, I have my heraldry, I have my officership at the time, I have my performing arts, I was active in Bardic at the time, I have my social circle. I have other places to go. And I hung up my armor and never looked back in that aspect of the SCA. We need to understand and respect each other's motives for doing what we're doing. Not everyone who is an officer wants to be a pelican, but at the same time, telling someone who wants to be a pelican, hey, you need to change this or you need to change that without understanding what brings them to the door every morning, that can be very destructive. I've caught myself saying it, and I've made some pretty emotional apologies over those missteps. Is it an emotional topic for me? Yeah, it is. It is. Is it a hard topic to detail at times? Yeah, it is. But at the same time, it is a conversation we need to have, because if we don't have this conversation, if we don't start engaging each other at that level, and we don't start appreciating the different motivations and the different reasons that people play the game and do what they do, we run the risk of burning bridges, even if we don't mean to, even if we don't want to. And that's a real tragedy, and more importantly, it's a preventable one. So I hope this finds the ears it needs to, and I hope this helps you. I hope this informs your future SCA game so that you can better the world around you instead of accidentally making it worse for someone. But until then, goodbye, God bless, and I'll see you at the next event.